Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Tuesday's Market SITREP. My apologies for not knocking out a Monday market outlook yesterday, but of course, whenever I'm traveling, the world goes to hell in a handbasket. But been an interesting, call it 72 hours. I was up in St. Joseph, Michigan. St. Joseph, Michigan, for a Homes for Our Troops event sponsored by the great Whirlpool Corporation and their Whirlpool Veterans Association. Going on and giving a, quote, motivational keynote after a Lance Corporal who had his leg blown off in Al-Qaim and also suffers from traumatic brain injury is a little tough. But he's the motivation, and it was an honor to be part of such an event. And then obviously headed up here to Norwich University up here in Vermont, picking up our boy who finished his first year. That went by in the blink of an eye. Don't blink, right? So grabbing my boy, but of course, whenever I'm on an airplane, that means bad things are happening. Literally, I'm sitting in the airport at South Bend, Indiana, as my phone's buzzing about my old ship, the USS Abraham Lincoln. That's my boy, or that's my girl. Depends, or thing, I guess you could call it, going forward in today's Navy. Going over to the Arabian Gulf. It was going over there anyway, but it was during workups. You're actually gone more getting ready to go on deployment than when you're on deployment. So they were in workups. And the president said, "That's it. You guys head over there now because of what's going on with Iran." The president's trying to clean up the mess that Barack Hussein Obama created with Iran, and John Bolton's not messing around. The Abraham Lincoln Carrier Strike Group's going over there to send a clear message. Ain't no one drop of oil leaving Iran in accordance with approved United Nations sanctions. And if you guys are going to close the Strait of Hormuz, it's an act of war. So this is getting really serious, folks. And then what props up after that? North Korea fired a ballistic missile. First time since 2017. So the president, doing a bunch of victory laps about Little Rocket Man, stop firing, and, we got a great relationship, the dear leader. And then the dude, after getting back from a meeting with Putin, lights off a bottle rocket. So here we go. So we got potential war in the Middle East. We got Rocket Man shooting rockets again, demanding attention and money. And oh, by the way, the Chinese, their third aircraft carrier is being built, as they already have one on deployment. And it's funny watching Comedy Central this morning. I call it CNBC, talking about all these issues like they just sprung up. If you're a TGO member, you know these things. I brief you on them daily. We just knocked out a great weekly options and primary live trade brief where we covered getting long a weekly options volatility trade on VXX, because I think the rest of the week is going to get interesting, and I'm going to brief you on that. And we talked about China. We talked about all these issues, but we absolutely have to take a victory lap here. Last week, in a Thursday live trade brief, I said the last time we saw this much short volatility trades was right before we call it Volmageddon, right? A year and a half ago. The VIX was going through this absolute period of calm, and then what happened? Volmageddon hit. There was remember this back here, folks? This was 2018, just record low volatility, and what happened? Everybody, except me, was short volatility and then got wiped out here. What did I say last week? I haven't seen this much short volatility interest. Short means what? They're betting on volatility going down. So last week I said, man, it is time to get long vol. Last Thursday, and look at that. Boom, explosion. So why did it explode? We predicted this, folks. 4 weeks ago, I broke to my members at Top Gun Options this. When the president was walking out to the helicopter 4 weeks ago, he was hammering the Fed. He not only said that the Fed chief was crazy for even thinking about raising interest rates, the president started to demand that the Fed cut interest rates, and not only cut interest rates, folks, pump the market full of liquidity with, what was it called? Everybody remember years ago under Barack Hussein Obama and his lovely Fed? QE, quantitative easing. So a lot of people were stunned, like, wait a minute, the GDP is printing money, unemployment's printing. I mean, everything's going great macroeconomically in this country. Why is the economy's on fire? Why is he asking the Fed to throw gasoline on it? You know why? I told my members 4 weeks ago, the president is hammering the Fed to do this because he wants a put in case he walks away from the trade deal. Now, that raised a lot of eyebrows, folks, but it turned out to be the truth. This morning on CNBC, they're like, well, this morning we can report that, it looks like the president's been going after the Fed lately because of this was going to happen. You heard that this morning on CNBC. I told you that 4 weeks ago, ladies and gentlemen. Sunday afternoon at South Bend, as soon as this, I got this alert on my cell phone, I laughed because we predicted this. We predicted this was going to happen. So the president said, hey, man, and remember when the president went down to the G20 summit in Argentina, all these pseudo-fake military wannabes on CNBC or Fox Business said what? Oh, well, down at the G summit in Buenos Aires, the president, we have a ceasefire with China. Apparently, people don't know too much about getting shot at because a ceasefire means what? You stop firing. We didn't. So the president left the current, what was it, 10% tariffs on China. And then a couple months ago, he said, the talks are going, the president said, we got 90 days to figure this out. I said, there's no way in hell they're going to get anything done in 90 days. So at the 90-day point, what did the president do? He said, I'm not going to ratchet up. I'm not going to increase the fire I'm shooting at the Chinese. Well, I'm going to sit on my hands because the talks are going well. What happened on Sunday? The president said, well, the Chinese did this, folks. Apparently, Lighthizer left the room because he said, hey, looks like we're getting close to the end here. Everybody's agreed with the stuff that we already covered, right? And the Chinese said, no, we're not. We're not going to do some of that stuff. And that was shocking. So Lighthizer got up, called the president, and the president over here Sunday said, what? Okay. And that's when the tweet heard around the world came out. The president said, I'm going to increase fire. I'm going to increase the tariffs. This Friday. He wrote next Friday, right? So the Chinese were the ones who did this, and the president, all he did, if you haven't read The Art of the Deal, you have no idea what's going on. But this guy is awesome. I love what the president's doing. The White House, the new strategy is, guess what? Deny the trade deal is dead when our market is open, and then when our market closes, say the trade deal is dead, sending the Shanghai and the Chinese stock markets crashing. Great. These guys are trying to play checkers when the president's playing like 6-dimensional chess with them right now. So the volatility is through the roof. The FXI is imploding. We covered our FXI burner trade, and in our brief for all my members, you have got to watch today's replay. I did it at 10 o'clock this morning because got to go over to Norwich and do some stuff with my son. So we moved this afternoon's live trade brief to this morning, and the replay is almost done rendering here. I got a little bit more time. That'll be posted, but all the trades are posted, folks. I covered an awesome game plan going forward with FXI, and FXI is the China iShares ETF. Look at that thing. Absolutely imploding here. So we talked about how to trade FXI going forward because this is going to be awesome. The rest of the week. So what happened after the president tweeted that out? Vice Premier Lou who, whatever his name is I'm on a plane. We're going to resume negotiations. So this is the best. The ability to get up and it's like buying a car, folks. Your best negotiation tactic is what? Is to get up and show him your back and walk away. That's what the president. He didn't even walk away. He's sitting in the guy's office, just pounding him. So the Chinese have kind of crawled back to the table and said, let's keep talking. So Lou's on an airplane, and this week is an inflection point. We're going to find out. So the president gave him until Friday until he starts increasing tariffs and hitting him harder. I don't know, man. Is this guy sitting in the Oval Office Thursday or Friday and saying, Mr. President, we have a deal type of thing, and him going, that's great. Invite your boss to come down to Mar-a-Lago in June. Incredible week ahead. So that's why we put on a weekly VXX bull put spread, right? I call it a tredge. It's a trade that could potentially make money, but also serves as a hedge. It's called a tredge. So we looked at a bull put spread out until Friday. Let me click on analyze here. On VXX, it's the 28 and a half and 28 bull put spread. Right, so this trade is risking 53 to potentially make $2,300. Look at that, 70% probability of at least breaking even, and 68% probability of making $2,300 between Tuesday and Friday on limited risk. Very, very good looking trade. But it seems like this was a world away. Does everybody remember what happened on Friday? The jobs report, man, blistering jobs report. And again, Friday afternoon, what happened? Vice President Pence, man, that dude's usually a backbencher. He starts hammering the Fed on Friday. I absolutely believe this. The president knew this was going to happen. He knew at some point, even though Larry Kudlow and Steve Mnuchin, Larry Kudlow's the White House market whisperer, and Steve Mnuchin last week, both those guys look like idiots today or Sunday. Steve Mnuchin, big Wall Street Journal, last week, hey, this deal's done by next Friday. And then Sunday, the president's hitting him with a double-barreled shotgun. So sometimes it looks like the gang that can't shoot straight, but maybe they know exactly what they're doing. So, but Friday, jobs numbers were blistering. The GDP was awesome. Everything's great. And the vice president starts hammering the Fed. They did this, folks. I reported it 4 weeks ago. First people to break this was that the president was placing a. So now the president's great. First of all, he looks good for standing up to China. He can hammer Obama, the Bushes, Clinton. Every president before me has been screwed by China. That ends with me. And the reason the stock market's going down, folks, is because the Fed ain't cutting interest rates or doing QE. So the guy's crazy like a fox. Whether you believe all of that or not is up to you. He's doing it awesome. And also what happened on Friday, this guy said he was an idiot. When Warren Buffett says he's an idiot, you got to believe him. We're not. We've been trading Amazon for years, and a year and a half ago, before the FANG stocks imploded, what did I do? We were in the FANG. We were in Facebook, Apple. I said, get out of every FANG stock. Ditch all of them. I said, we got privacy issues. We got regulation. They're limousine liberal pieces of shit stock. Get out of them. And what did I say to Target instead? Amazon. We're up over $200,000 in notional trades since I made that call on Amazon, folks. And Warren Buffett said on Friday, I was an idiot. So what's that make you? Are you in Amazon? Are you in our new Amazon trading service, Solo AMZN? All we do is we trade Amazon in that service for $97 a month or $8.97 annually. All you need to do to grab a slot for that brief is go.topgunoptions.com/solo. We put on a bull put spread that made 60% in a day last week. Last Thursday, we did our, was it second or third live trade brief in that service? And in one day, between Thursday and Friday morning, Warren Buffett said he was an idiot. Amazon was up 3.5%. We made 60% in a day on that trade. I think it was $1,900 in one day of trading, let alone the $2,400 we had made previously in the week on Amazon. So what are you waiting for? I mean, I'm done trying to drag you into this. And this is our cheapest service to get into. If you want to kind of stick your nose under the tent and see what's going on in here, head to go.topgunoptions.com/solo, and you can get airborne into our brief. Folks, this is about to get super, super interesting, as if it hasn't in the past. I've warned this whole rally is in danger if the president walks away from this deal. And as soon as he started pounding the Fed 4 weeks ago, we broke it first. I said that's because he's going to walk, or at least threatened to walk, and he did. We nailed it. We nailed the election of Trump. We nailed the market rally. We nailed the FANGs imploding, and we nailed this. Why the president was nailing the Fed. Couldn't be more happy with what's going on here at TGO. So join us, see what we're doing here. Head to go.topgunoptions.com/solo, and I will see you for Wednesday's market sit rep tomorrow. Happy hunting. Make sure you hedge, and God bless.